Kalima, Jai Durgama. I'm Ganesh Kausik, welcoming you all to this evening's Satsang on behalf of the Kali Bari Mandir. I feel privileged to introduce the artists for this evening, Dr. Vanamala Parthasarathi and Srimati Kavita Arudra. The first part is a talk by Dr. Vanamala Parthasarathi titled Awesome Kali. Dr. Vanamala Parthasarathi is a widely published scholar of Vaishnavism and Indological Studies. She is a retired Deputy Director of Indological Research at the Institute of Postgraduate Studies in Mumbai. She has published several books, many articles in popular magazines like Tattvaloka and Bhavan's Journal, and presented at national and international conferences and seminars. Dr. Vanamala continues her research in Indological studies and gives invited talks to a worldwide audience. She's also trained in Carnatic music and Bharatanatyam. The second part of this evening will feature vocal music by Srimati Kavita Arudra. Kavita, born to music-loving parents, was initiated into music at an early age by her mother, a Sangeeta Visharad in Hindustani classical music. Her father was adept at playing tabla and several other instruments. Kavita has been a disciple of Chitra Jagirdhar and Surmani Shri Mukund Kshirsagar, a direct disciple of Maestro Pandit Jasraj of the Gwalior Mayavati Gharana. Equally at ease with khayals, bhajans, tumris, and even ghazals, Kavita has been invited to perform at several venues. Kavita is presently under the guidance of Gan Gandharva Sri Balachandra Nakod, son of late Pandit Arjun Saha Nakod. Please sit back and enjoy the enlightening lecture of Dr. Vanamala Parthasarathi and music of Kavita, who is blessed with a mellifluous voice.
Namaste to all of you, and I'm very, very happy to present a talk on Awesome Kali. At the outset, I would like to thank the CKB, Chicago Kali Bari, for having given me this opportunity to share my ideas or thoughts, I would say, not ideas, thoughts. So now we go as per the slides. I will just do the second one. This is my title, Awesome Kali, and you see the beautiful painting. Thanks to the artist who has done it. And of course, as far as the pictures, photographs are concerned, the credit is to the uh, the Ramakrishna Mission and Tattvaloka for having given me the permission to prepare slides out of the photographs. Now here we go for the second slide. Scope. Fearsome and benevolent Kali. Legends of Kali. Kali and her devotees. Now, I will be elaborating on all these three topics, or the subtopics. Okay. Now, the first one, the fearsome, benevolent Kali. Um, I must say, um, Kali the fearsome appears as the merciful Kali Matu, Yadevi Sarva Bhuteshu, Matrurupena Samstita, Namastasye, 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 Namo Namaha. To the goddess in all beings found in the form of mother, I bow to her. I bow to her. I bow to her again and again. Bengal boasts of Kali worship and adoration. Saints like Ramakrishna considered Kali as the merciful Ma who bestowed her grace. He reached great spiritual heights to attain samadhi, the state of bliss and joy. He becomes ecstatic when he had her beautiful vision. Now, the second slide is Ma Kali. This is a beautiful Kali picture, and it is from Dakshineshwar Kali. And Dakshineshwar was the place where Ramakrishna Paramahamsa served as the priest, and that's where he got his vision of Kali too. So now the second slide I'll go, and then I'll start the legends. Look at her. How is she portrayed? To begin with, how is Kali portrayed? Yes, she's the picture of fury, death, and destruction. There's nothing that you can think of her as a ma, because she can't be so scary, but she's a picture of fury, death, and destruction. Because of that, one might feel a little hesitant to approach her. More often, she is represented as an independent goddess, but when depicted with Shiva, she is the dominant figure standing on or dancing on Shiva's inert body. She belongs to the Hindu pantheon of gods and goddesses. However, she is somewhat incorporated into Buddhist and Jain systems too. The concept of the black goddess has been traced to the description of Ratri goddess in Rigvedic hymns, and in one of the Upanishads, Kali, Black One, is the name given to her of the flickering flames arising out of the fire. In Mahabharata, during the nocturnal incursion of Ashwatthama into Pandava camp, she is described as the embodiment of Death Night. A description fits into our view of her. Her descriptions become more and more vivid in Puranas. According to one Purana, Vayu Purana, Bhadrakali came out of the fury of Ambika, Parvati. She's none other than Parvati or Devi or the main goddess, Adishakti. The Devi Mahatmya of Markandeya Purana, Shiva marches against Shankachuda. Kali proceeds to the battlefront. Markandeya Purana describes the battle of Devi with two asuras, Chanda and Munda. Both in Agni and Garuda Puranas, she is mentioned as in the invocation to her. Shiva Purana has an interesting description of Kali in this context, with 100 arms seated in aerial chariot, studded with gems. Look at the way she's dressed up here. She was wearing a red cloth, a red garland. She had smeared red unguents over her body. She bore conch, discus, mace, lotus, sword, leather shield, bows, arrows, skulls of circular shape, a long spear, majestic in appearance, a trident, iron club, threshing rod, thunderbolt, thick shield, and the miraculous weapons of many gods. So, the Bhagavata Purana also gives the legend of a group of Kali devotees who indulged in robbery, tried to kidnap a young Brahmin for offering as Narabali, and how Kali emerges from the image, slays all of them, and he and others, demons, drink their blood. There are many legends about her, quite absorbing. Due to time constraints, I mentioned here that Parvati is called Kali as she is dark in Vamana Purana. The text provides details about how, after undertaking penance, she marries Shiva. She was born to Himavan and Mena. She, on seeing her, well knew that she was his consort, Sati, and it is Daksha's daughter. Here comes in the popular story of Daksha Yajna. Kali is not only associated with Durga, also with Sati. Sati's father provokes Sati by not inviting her and Shiva for the grand yaga attended by all gods. Sati assumes a terrible form, destroys the yaga, and jumps into the fire. Shiva comes there, picks up the charred body of Sati, and performs the destructive dance. Vishnu intervenes and with Sudarshana chops the body. And as per the account, the body parts were scattered all over India and they came to be known as the Shakti Pitas. They are counted as 51 in number. Some of them are in Bangladesh and even present in Pakistan, present Pakistan too. That's interesting. Another story popular in Tamil Nadu, where Shiva defeats Kali in a dance. After a terrible contest, Shiva lifts his one leg upwards because Kali, being a female, she is not allowed to lift her leg. And this happened in a place called Tiruvalangadu in Tamil Nadu. Now, closer home in Calcutta, we have two famous Kali shrines. Kali Ghat Kali, one of the 51 Shakti Pitas, has an interesting legend to it. Now, legends develop over a period of time, depending on the society. Closer home in Kolkata, we have two famous Kali shrines. Kali Ghat Kali is one regarded as one of the 51 Shakti Pitas, and as I told you, it has an interesting legend. The Murti is a self manifested one, decorated beautifully. The part of the Sati that fell here was her feet. Once a Brahmin, Atmaram, witnessed flickering lights near the Bhagirathi river that flows here. He picked it up and it happened to be self-manifested uh, self-manifested stone that looked like flickering light. And it was actually by his Jnana Drishti, Atmaram's Jnana Drishti, he realized it was Mother Goddess's feet. He worshipped the sacred stone ardently. Atmaram got the clarification in his dream about Sati's feet. As per Shastra, wherever the Shakti Pita is there, Bhairava Murti will be there too. To prove it, he found the Murti of Bhairava nearby, installed both, and continued to worship. The location was a wooded forest. Once the forest disappeared and the land space came into being, it was Kalighat or and Kolkata got its name. The present temple was built by Zamindar Suresh Rai Chaudhary, who some say he found it and it was visible to sannyasis. It is also known as Adi Kali. Opinions differ about which temple can be identified with the Shakti Pita. We won't get into the discussion. Among the 10 Mahavidyas, the primal one is Kali. The Tantras talk about it. They mention even um, even that she devours Kala time. One of the renowned scholars talks about in a tantra called Todala Tantra, mentions 8 forms of Kali. Let's see what they are. Dakshina, Siddha, Guhya, Shri, Bhadra, Chamunda, Smashana, and Maha. Now we come to Kali and her devotees. So we go to the next slide. Whom do you see here? Kalidasa. But I'm going to commence with Kalidasa because I have to start from the beginning, from almost 6th century, I would say 6th, 7th century, how Kali had become a goddess to many people, a favorite goddess to many people. And she performed many great, interesting incidents with her devotees. Now we commence with Kalidasa, poet laureate of a country, and how he came to be known as Kalidasa. Along with mythological stories, you know how mythological stories are there, Puranas, Mahabharata, Ramayana, etc. But the folklore has a different literature altogether. And it is beautiful. Some of them are so interestingly linked. So it is interesting to know about the folklore. And here goes the folklore. Uh, it's interesting to the masses, and that's why probably the folklore literature developed. And so we have one for Kalidasa too. Another couple of them, like her devotees, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, who regarded Kali as the universal mother and his divine experiences with her. We'll talk about Ramakrishna a little later. The present temple was built by Zamindar uh, 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 the Zamindar. And now folklore, as far as Kalidasa is uh, concerned, um, we have, like Shakespeare, his name and fame are immortal in Indian literature. Scholars have placed him around 4th to 5th century. See, again, there are controversy with all scholars. There's always a controversy. There's one story that says he lived during the period of legendary king Vikramaditya. And it is said that he was one among Navaratnas, which consisted of reputed persons in different fields. That was his ministry. He was the Asthana Kavi. he authored famous Sanskrit plays like Mekaduktam, Kumara Sambhavam, and others. And it is also that he came under the patronage of uh, the court. He was the Asthana Kavi, and he favored, as I told you, all these plays. And then he came under the patronage of Chandragupta too, because Vikramaditya is generally associated with uh, Chandragupta too. Anyway, that's for the scholars to decide. Kalidasa, it appears, was not his real name. The folklore says, talks about how he was transformed into a great poet. The story goes that the princess of the kingdom was very beautiful, clever, and knowledgeable in scripture. She declared that the person whom she will choose should be able to defeat her in a debate covering philosophical and scriptural issues. Scholars who heard about this from far and wide, all only to be defeated and humiliated. Nobody could match her. How to retaliate was this question. One day, four pundits were in a small, tiny village. They saw a youngster, a shepherd boy, sitting on top of a tree, enjoying the fruit and chopping the tree while sitting on it. Just imagine sitting on top of the tree and then cutting the tree. That was his intelligence. It is told that this boy had become an orphan when he was very young and also illiterate. The villagers made fun of him, ridiculed him. When the Pandits saw him, they said, well, this is the opportunity to play a trick on the princess by cheating him. How? Forcing him as a, by cheating her, and how? Forcing him as a great scholar. So they decided to do that and they prepared him. They have to prepare him. Now, this little boy is very badly in bad clothes and not looking clean. So they gave him a bath, provided good clothes to wear, and instructed him uh, and also instructed him that he should will be taken to the princess, and the princess will put questions, and he would remain silent with only display gestures. The youngster, of course, shocked and scared, poor fellow, and asked them why he was being escorted to the royal palace. They told him the purpose. He got very frightened, but was tempted to do at the same time. Being a young boy, he wanted to uh, find out. It was being very, I would say, adventurous. The princess continued looking at him, putting across one question after another. She was told that he was maintaining strict silence and would reply by his gesture. Very clever move. The princess believed and was satisfied about his scholarship. Marriage was arranged in a grand way. At nightfall, when the princess entered the chamber, she was shocked to see the dim-wit's responses. She became furious. She insulted him and even drove him away. She told him that until he gains knowledge, she will not allow him inside. He was upset, poor fellow, and sad. He had nowhere to go. And luckily, he was advised by the villagers to go to a Kali temple nearby, go inside, and lock himself up, and that she might shower grace on him. So, really believing it and totally, putting trust in Kali, he goes. She returned only to realize that the door was locked from outside. And then what happened? The And he had locked up, and he would not open. And he started praying and praying, and only to realize that the door was locked from inside. She knocked and knocked. The door would not open. So finally, she asked the person inside to open the door, as well who was there to open the door. The door as to what he would like to have in return for opening the door. And little, through a pinhole, he was actually being seen, I think, by Kali, I suppose so. He narrated all that happened, the sorry state of affairs that he had got into. He pleaded that the goddess should bestow on him the intelligence and knowledge. The goddess was moved by his sincere pleas, and so he decided to grant the boon. She asked him to stick out his tongue, and so he did. Lo and behold, the goddess wrote his name, Kalidasa, perhaps, because he was a Kalidasa. And with her fingernail, she didn't have anything, just a fingernail, she had long nails. And thus the wisdom and creativity came to him due to mercy of Kali. Yes, She will be merciful to all her sincere devotees. This is what I'm trying to project in the paper. Now, Kali and Vikramaditya, as I told you, he was one of the Navaratnas and he was an ardent devotee of Kali. Ujjaini Kali was very fond of him, who was a devotee, and to the extent she did not allow any other person other than Vikramaditya to rule the kingdom. Such was the bond between Mahakali and him. We have Ujjaini Kali also there. I've just mentioned about it. Now we come to the Bengal devotees of Kali. Kali and her Bengal devotees. So now we see our great Ramakrishna Paramahamsa from Bengal and his disciple Vivekananda, who had gone to US, and he was there at Chicago delivering his great lecture. And I'm sure the residents of Chicago will feel very happy about it. Not to forget another great devotee was Ram Prasad Sen, whose songs are very well known. Ramakrishna, referred to as the great master by Swami Sadananda, a direct disciple of Ramakrishna, alias his name was Gadadhar Chattopadhyaya. He was born on February 18th, 36 and lived till 16th August 1886. He was only 50 years old when he died. Great mystic saint of India. Bengalis call him, pardon me for if I pronounce it wrong, Ramakrishna Parohamso. He was born in a devout Brahmin family in a village Kamarpukur in the Hooghly district of West Bengal. His parents were Kudiram and Chandramani Devi. It is told that the parents had divine supernatural experiences even before he was born. This was the case with Buddha also, if you remember. His father had a dream in which Bhagavan Gadadhara informed that he would be born as Kudiram's son. And Chandramani had a vision of light entering her womb from Yoginder Shiva Mandir. In fact, even for Satyasai, they say that the divine light entered the womb of Ishwaramma. The family prayed to Rama, and hence the names of his children began with Rama. And so was Ramakrishna was himself named. And he was the pet child of his father, who used to call him Ramakrishna Babu, because in Bengal, I think everybody is called a Babu, if I'm right. Ramakrishna attended the village school, but never believed in a bread-winning education. That he called it bread-winning education. Yes, that is a bread-winning education. From a very young age, he was spiritually inclined and went into spiritual ecstasies. It is said that he had such a blissful experience while worshipping goddess Vishalakshi and portraying Shiva in a drama. Imagine he played a part in drama at the time of played the part of Shiva at the time of Shivaratri. At the age of 6 months only, once when he was walking along paddy fields, he saw a whole lot of cranes flying across dark, thundering clouds. He got so absorbed that he slipped and lost body consciousness, experienced profound joy. This is the state of samadhi, I would say. After his father's death in 1843, the elder brother Ram Kumar had to bear the responsibilities of the household. And it is said that when he lost his father, he actually turned to read spiritual works, and the family condition became very bad in his teens. He shifted to Kolkata. I'm not talking about Sharada Devi because Sharada Devi herself was a great devotee of Kali, and it will be too much because of the Tamil, I mean, the time constraint. I straight away go to Ramakrishna. He shifted to Calcutta to assist his brother in the priestly duties in Dakshineshwar. In 1855, he was made the priest of the Kali temple. This was constructed by Rani Rashomani. Ramakrishna and his nephew Hriday used to help their brother Ramkumar. Ramakrishna was assigned the duty of decorating the deity. After Ramkumar passed away, he became the priest. After this tragic event in his life, because he has lost his brother Ramkumar, he spent hours contemplating, and his longing to get her vision grew with deep meditation. One day, Ramakrishna himself said that he sang a song for Divine Mother Kali. She used to sing many songs. Weeping to get her vision, he cried out, I quote, Dost thou not, mother, Here, even a little of the many prayers I address to thee, thou didst show thyself to Ram Prasad. Why shouldn't thou not then reveal thyself to me? He reached a point of despair that he even decided to end his life because he was not getting the vision. And in a room in the temple, wherever he was, he saw a sword hanging. He tried to grab it to kill himself. Lo, behold, Kali Ma, the universal mother, appeared. He was overwhelmed, and before he fainted, he described the spiritual vision. Houses, I quote, houses, doors, temples, and everything else vanished altogether as if there was nothing anywhere. And what I saw was an infinite shore, shoreless sea. Imagine a shoreless sea of light, a sea that was consciousness. That was consciousness. Very often we say you have to realize that's most important consciousness, a consciousness with a capital letter. However far and in whatever direction I looked, I saw shining waves, one after another, coming towards me. Just imagine his flight, how scared he must have been. Now I move to the next slide just to show you the house. This is the place. A little temple has been built where he reached the Samadhi. And the next one is the Shiv. This is the mandir of Ramakrishna, or probably Shiva Mandir. And then this is the old place, the very old ancient place where the temple was. Okay. Now, Ram Prasad Sen, her ardent devotee, describes Kali's fierce looks. O Kali, why dost thou roam uh, about nude? O mother, is it a virtue of thy family that thou places thy feet on thy husband? Imagine Kali is placing her feet, but that was divine. No, and so she says, thou places thy feet on thy husband, thou art nude, thy husband is nude, you both roam cremation grounds. Thou hast cast away thy necklace and jewels. Mother, and worn a garland of human heads. Ram Prasad says, Mother, thy fierce beauty has frightened thy nude consort also. Imagine, I'm sure it must not have frightened him. He knew who she was. Notwithstanding Kali's looks, he fondly addressed her as the mother, never loses sight of that. Here is a verse from Kalika Ashtakam. Yem Swargadatri Punaha Kalpavalli Manojastu Kamam Yadartam Prakrutyat Tata Te Skritartha Bhavanti Iti Nityam Swarupam Swadiyam Na Vindati Devaha. Salutations to Devi Kalika. You can give heaven itself great prosperity. Again, like a wish-fulfilling creeper, she can give anything you want. Fulfill the mind. Born wishes uttered with true devotion. Yes, what is most important? Devotion. Thus to you, the world is always grateful. Even the devas do not know your transcendental form, nature. Yes, true. Unless you pray and pray and pray, you will never know what her transcendental nature is. Swami Vivekananda became a worshipper of Kali after his guru Ramakrishna has passed away in the summer of 1886. He wrote a poem, Kali the Mother, when he was staying in a houseboat in Dal Lake in Kashmir. Here he worships Kali in the terrible form and says, the whole universe becomes the stage. She does her frenzied, terrible dance. Now, some of the Kali temples, Kali generally described as one who lives in the cremation ground, gives us darshan in temples too, but she's not shown in the smasana, etc. She's shown as a murti. Devotees throng those sacred places. Among them are some of the temples, Kali Ghat temple in Kolkata, the Dakshineshwar Kali temple, Kalika Devi temple in Himachal Pradesh, not far from Chandigarh. There is an ancient temple of Kali in Madura, in Bhutheshwar, Shiva temple known as Patala Kali, a very small murti as mentioned by one of the great travel writers. And she does religious pilgrimages in her book of 51 Shakti Pitas called Manjula Ramesh. And the author writes from her personal experiences in a travelogue format. Then she talks about Spittu Kali in Ladakh on a hill. She's the unmanifested form. And not to forget, of course, Ujjain Kali. I cannot share the legends, I'm sorry to say. To conclude, appearances can be deceptive. Very often we say that appearances can be deceptive. In this case, Kali looks fearsome but tender at heart, like a mother. A mother can never be harsh on the child. She will always support the child and support the child to the father and try to see what the position of the child is. Remember that first. Benevolent with her devotees. Combining what is so unique about it is combining the opposites. Kali is certainly awesome. And here I have picture of the some of the representations of Kali. They are not great pictures because this was taken from a Xerox copy of the magazine in which I had, I had presented an article. And so these pictures are to the, my credit goes to the person. And so this is where I couldn't get the proper pictures because I didn't have the original with me, unfortunately. Anyway, I will show whatever I have, and please excuse me for the bad slides. Thank you. Oh, this is Tile Kali Amman. They say I talked about Tile Kali Amman, and this is a bronze, and most of them are Chola bronzes, and they are beautiful. Okay, the last, of course, and here is the typical way. And one of the things which I forgot to mention is the shoe flower or hibiscus is the favorite flower of Kali. And look at the Kali in the center. And she's like very much like the Bengal. I had a Mayurbhanj picture, but it is not very clear. So I thought I would retain this and project it. I hope I was able to share as many ideas as I could in this restricted time. Thank you so much. God bless. Now I hand over my uh, the, from me to Kavita. You have just heard, and now you're going to hear the divine music of Kavita Arudra. And now she starts. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Vanmala. That was a wonderful presentation. I begin my, I can't call this a recital, it is a little seva which I wish to do for Ma Kali. जयन्ती मङ्गला काली भद्रकाली कपालिनी दुर्गा क्षमा शिवा दात्री स्वाहा स्वधा नमोऽस्तु ते अब जागो मां अब जागो मां नमस्ते सिद्धसेनानी आर्ये मंदारवासिनी कुमारी काली कपाली कपिले कृष्ण पिंगले भद्रकाली नमस्तुभ्यं महाकाली नमोऽस्तुते चण्डी चण्डे नमस्तुभ्यं तारिणी वरवर्णिनी कात्यायनी महाभागे कराळे विजयी जये शिखी पिच्च ध्वजाधारे नानाभरण भूषिते अट्टशूल प्रहाराणे खड्गकेटकधारिणी गोपेन्द्रस अनुजे जे थे नंद गोपकुलोद्भवे महिषासुर प्रिये नित्यं कौशिकी पीठवासिनी महिषासुर प्रिये नित्यं कौशिकी पीठवासिनी अट्टहासे कुकामुके नमस्ते स्तूरणप्रिये उमेशाकम्बरी श्वेते कृष्णे कैटभनाशिनी हिरण्याक्षी विरूपक्षी सुधूम्रक्षी नमोऽस्तु ते वेदश्रुति महापुण्ये ब्रह्मण्ये जातवेदसी जम्बुकटाकचैतेषु नित्यं सन्निहितालये त्वं ब्रह्म विद्य विद्यानां महानिद्र च धीमहि स्कन्दमातार्भगवती दुर्गे कानटवासिनी स्वाहाकरा स्वधा चैव कालाकास्तसरस्वती सावित्री वेदमाता च तथा वेदान्तयुच्यते स्तुतासि त्वं महादेवी विशुद्धीनान्तरात्मनः जयो भवतु मे नित्यं त्वत्प्रसादरणाजिरे कान्तारभयदुर्गेषु भक्तानां चलयेषु च नित्यं वसासि पाताले युद्धे जयसि दानवान् त्वं जम्भिने मोहिनीं च महाहृष्ये तदैव च संध्या प्रभावती चैव सावित्री जननी तथा तुष्टिर्पुष्टिर्द्युतिर्दीप्ति चन्द्रादित्यविवर्धनी भूतिर्भूतिर्मतां संख्ये वीक्ष्यसे सिद्धचारणै महाकाली नमोऽस्तु ते महाकाली नमोऽस्तु ते महाकाली नमोऽस्तु ते नमो देवी अनन्तरूपिणी प्रणत पालिनी मा नमो देवी नमो देवी दुर्गा भवानी माँ जय जय साई माँ दुर्गा भवानी माँ जय जय साई माँ काली कपालिनी माँ जय जय साई माँ काली कपालिनी माँ जय जय साई माँ दुर्गा भवानी माँ जय जय साई माँ परम शिवानी माँ जय जय घाई माँ परम शिवानी माँ जय जय साई माँ जगदोधारिणी माँ जय जय साई माँ जगदोधारिणी माँ जय जय काली माँ तुम दयामयी हो माँ श्यामा तुम कृपामयी हो माँ श्यामा तुम दयामयी हो माँ श्यामा तुम कृपामयी हो माँ श्यामा तुम करुणामयी हो माँ श्यामा तुम ज्योतिर्मयी हो माँ श्यामा तुम करुणामयी हो माँ श्यामा तुम ज्योतिर्मयी हो माँ श्यामा तुम ही भक्ति हो माँ श्यामा तुम ही शक्ति हो माँ श्यामा तुम आसक्ति हो माँ श्यामा तुम ही मुक्ति हो माँ श्यामा तुम ही साधन हो माँ श्यामा तुम आराधन हो माँ श्यामा तुम ही मुक्ति हो माँ श्यामा तुम ही आराधन हो श्यामा तुम ही चंदन हो माँ श्यामा तुम ही वंदन हो माँ श्यामा तुम ही चंदन हो माँ श्यामा तुम ही वंदन हो माँ श्यामा तुम जग जननी हो माँ श्यामा तुम जगवंदनी हो माँ श्यामा तुम जग जननी हो माँ श्यामा तुम जगवंदनी हो माँ श्यामा तुम शुभ करणी हो माँ श्यामा तुम भवतारिणी हो माँ श्यामा तुम शुभ करणी हो माँ श्यामा तुम भवतारिणी हो माँ श्यामा तुम दयामयी हो माँ श्यामा तुम कृपामयी हो माँ श्यामा माता माता काली माँ काली माता माता काली माता 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 काली माता जगत माता साई विश्व माता जगत माता काली विश्व माता 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 काली माता 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 काली माता दुर्गा भवानी काली कपालिनी दुर्गा भवानी काली कपालिनी शांतिदायिनी साई माता शांतिदायिनी साई माता शांतिदायिनी काली माता शांतिदायिनी काली माता 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 काली माता देवी साई माँ देवी काली माँ देवी माँ काली माँ, देवी सरस्वती माँ, देवी साई माँ, देवी सरस्वती माँ, देवी साई माँ, देवी सरस्वती माँ, दुर्गा भवानी माँ, कालिका पालिनी माँ, दुर्गा भवानी माँ, कालिका पालिनी माँ, जगदोधारिणी माँ, जगदोधारिणी माँ, सत्य साई दया करो माँ, सत्य साई दया करो माँ, सत्य साई दया करो माँ, देवी साई माँ, देवी सरस्वती माँ, देवी साई माँ, देवी सरस्वती माँ, दुर्गा भवानी माँ, कालिका पालिनी माँ, दुर्गा भवानी माँ, कालिका पालिनी माँ, जगदोधारिणी माँ, जगदोधारिणी माँ, साई दया करो माँ, सत्य साई दया करो माँ, साई दया करो माँ, सत्य साई दया करो माँ। काली काली महाकाली कपालिनी, काली काली महाकाली कपालिनी, दुर्गा दुर्गा देवी दुर्गा भवानी, दुर्गा दुर्गा देवी दुर्गा भवानी, काली काली महाकाली कपालिनी, काली काली महाकाली, मंगल गौरी माता महेश्वरी, मंगल गौरी माता महेश्वरी, राज राजेश्वरी लक्ष्मी नारायणी, राज राजेश्वरी लक्ष्मी नारायणी, राज राजेश्वरी लक्ष्मी नारायणी, राज राजेश्वरी लक्ष्मी नारायणी, काली काली महाकाल कपालिनी, काली काली महाकाली कपालिनी, दुर्गा दुर्गा देवी दुर्गा भवानी, दुर्गा दुर्गा देवी दुर्गा भवानी, काली काली महाकाली, मंगल गौरी माता महेश्वरी, मंगल गौरी माता महेश्वरी, राज राजेश्वरी लक्ष्मी नारायणी, राज राजेश्वरी लक्ष्मी नारायणी, राज राजेश्वरी लक्ष्मी नारायणी, काली काली महाकाली कपालिनी, आ माँ कालिका 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 माँ कालिका तुम देवी कालिका माँ कालिका तुम देवी कालिका तुम असुर दल विनाशिनी तुम असुर दल विनाशिनी माँ कालिका तुम देवी कालिका जगत जननी माँ तुम ही शिवानी जगत जननी माँ तुम ही शिवानी काल रूपिणी तुम सुखदायिनी कालिका हे माँ कालिका तुम देवी कालिका तुम असुर दल विनाशिनी माँ कालिका सुर मुनि मोहिनी तुम ही भैरवी सुर मुनि मोहिनी तुम ही भैरवी तुम विश्वेश्वरी तुम भवतारिणी कालिका तुम देवी कालिका तुम ही अपर्णा तुम ही योगिनी तुम ही अपर्णा तुम ही योगिनी सिद्धिदात्री माँ तुम वरदायिनी कालिका तुम देवी कालिका तुम असुर दल विनाशिनी माँ कालिका माँ कालिका माँ कालिका ओम निरंजनी नारायणी महाकाल महाराणी भवानी भगवती प्रसिद्ध में ओम भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामया सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्ति Shanti, Shanti. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu.
Namaste to all. Thank you very much. We actually now see the slides from Dr. Vanamala Patsari. There was a technical glitch. We couldn't interrupt. So please pardon us. But a wonderful hour of music and enlightenment. Thank you all very much and hope to see you soon. Jai Kalima, Jai Durgama.
Jai Kali Ma.
Thank you.